Have you ever felt like you were running a marathon, but someone was constantly tying your shoelaces together? Like, no matter how much energy you put into moving forward, something invisible just keeps tripping you up?
That is such a perfect way to put it, Alex. It is exactly what we are diving into today, but we are looking at it through a very specific, almost clinical spiritual lens provided by the TNT initiative.
Right, we are talking about Decree number TNTI 2026 KS001. It is titled the Personal Environmental Purification and Separation Mandate. Sounds very official, doesn't it?
It is official because the stakes are incredibly high. This decree, issued by Sebastianus Christiani Alvarius, isn't just a suggestion. It's a framework for what they call the chosen collective to protect their mission.
The language in here is fascinating. It talks about karmic individuals. Now, when I hear karmic, I usually think of past lives or cosmic balance, but this decree defines it very differently, right?
Exactly. In this context, a karmic individual isn't about some mystical debt. It's about recurring behavioral patterns that produce instability, dysfunction, or what they call energetic deterioration in your life.
So it's not just someone having a bad day or making a mistake. We all do that. This is about a consistent, repetitive drain on your resources. It's like a software bug that keeps crashing your system.
Precisely. The decree is very clear that we aren't talking about temporary human imperfection. We are talking about people whose presence actively sabotages your growth, clarity, and peace.
I love this line in the preamble. A mind assigned to strategy cannot remain occupied by chaos. That hits home. How can you plan for the future if you're constantly putting out fires in your personal life?
It's about bandwidth, Alex. If you're a leader, a creator, or someone on a mission, your mental and emotional energy is your most valuable currency. If you're spending it all on emotional warfare, you have nothing left for your work.
So, the decree basically gives the chosen collective permission, actually it calls it a sacred authority, to audit their lives. It's like a spiritual spring cleaning of your social circle.
It really is. Article 1 declares that strategic separation is a lawful act of self-preservation. It challenges the idea that everyone has a right to be in your space. It says proximity is a privilege, not an entitlement.
That's a huge shift for a lot of people. We're often taught that being a good or spiritual person means being endlessly available to everyone, no matter how they treat us. This decree says the opposite.
It's a radical act of boundaries. It argues that compassion does not require self-destruction. You can have love for someone from a distance if their presence is destroying your ability to function.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics. The decree identifies 7 types of karmic individuals. The first one on the list is chronic jealousy. This isn't just a little envy, it's deeper, right?
It's a resentment of your growth. These are the people who use passive-aggressive remarks or mockery disguised as humor whenever you achieve something. They want to pull you back down to their level.
I've seen that. You share some good news, and instead of saying, congratulations, they say something like, oh, must be nice to have it so easy. It totally deflates the moment.
Exactly. That competitive bitterness creates a toxic environment where you feel like you have to hide your light just to keep the peace. And for someone on a mission, hiding your light is the ultimate failure.
The second type is manipulative dependency. These are the people who use guilt or manufactured crises to keep you tethered to them. The after all I've done for you crowd.
These individuals are experts at emotional blackmail. They perform helplessness to force you into a rescuer role. It's a way of controlling you through your own empathy and sense of obligation.
It's exhausting. You feel like you can't say no because they've framed their entire existence around your support. It's a total violation of boundaries, but it's dressed up as need.
And that leads right into the third category, energetic depletion patterns. These are the people who just leave you feeling empty, like a battery that's been drained to zero after a 10-minute conversation.
I think we all know someone like that. There's no specific fight, but you just feel heavy, anxious, or confused after talking to them. It's like they carry a cloud of drama wherever they go.
They create problems without ever seeking solutions. It's a cycle of negativity that pulls you into their chaos. If your presence consistently leaves someone mentally scattered, you are acting as a karmic influence in their life.
Then there's sabotage-oriented behavior. This one feels more intentional. It's mocking dreams, discouraging ambition, or creating a huge distraction right before you have a major milestone.
It's incredibly insidious. Think about someone who starts a massive argument the night before you have a huge presentation, or someone who gossips about you just as you're gaining visibility in your field.
It's like they can smell your success coming, and they have to throw a wrench in the gears. Why do people do that, Selena? Is it just fear of being left behind?
Often, yes. Your evolution highlights their stagnation. If you move forward, they have to face the fact that they aren't. So, sabotaging you is a defense mechanism for their own ego.
That leads perfectly into the fifth type, toxic relational cycles. This is the break and repair cycle, chaos disguised as passion. I think a lot of people mistake this for intensity or deep love.
Oh, for sure. People think the high-stakes drama means they are meant to be. But the decree points out that this is actually weaponized affection and emotional inconsistency. There is no growth in these cycles.
It's just spinning your wheels. You spend all your time working on the relationship, but you never actually get anywhere. It's just a loop of validation and then withdrawal.
Exactly. And then we have the boundary violators. These are the people who think your time, your money, and your emotional labor are theirs for the taking. They don't respect no.
The ones who call you at 2 a.m. for something trivial, or just show up at your house without asking. They treat your life as an extension of theirs, with no regard for your privacy or your needs.
They demand access, and when you try to set a boundary, they act like you are the one being difficult. It's a very subtle form of entitlement that slowly erodes your sense of self.
Finally, we have identity suppressors. I found this one really interesting. It's about people who are uncomfortable with your transformation. They want the old you back.
This is so common when someone starts a spiritual journey or a major career shift. The people around them might mock their new habits or discourage their confidence. They want you to stay small because that's where they feel comfortable with you.
It's like they have a box for you, and as soon as you start growing out of it, they try to trim you down to fit. Don't get too big for your boots, right? That kind of energy.
Exactly. They punish your independence, and the decree is very firm. You cannot ascend while remaining voluntarily entangled in these environments. You have to protect your evolution.
So Article 3 explains why this removal is necessary. It's not just about being mean or exclusive. It's about mission protection. I love that term. It makes your life feel like a high-stakes operation.
Because it is. If you believe you have a purpose, then you have to treat your life like a sacred assignment. Every hour spent recovering from avoidable chaos is an hour stolen from your mission.
That's a powerful perspective. Every hour spent recovering is stolen operational time. If I'm a surgeon, I can't have someone screaming at me in the hallway before I go into the OR. My focus has to be absolute.
Exactly. And the same applies to emotional resource preservation. Our capacity is finite. We only have so much fuel in the tank. If we waste it on dysfunction, we have nothing left for innovation or leadership.
It also mentions environmental purification. This idea that our surroundings, our homes, our digital spaces, our circles, actually shape our thought patterns. If your environment is toxic, your outcomes will be polluted.
We normalize what we are around. If you are constantly around people who gossip, manipulate, or live in chaos, you start to think that's just how the world works. You lose your discernment.
And spiritual clarity is the big one. Noise disrupts discernment. If you're in a constant state of emotional warfare, you can't hear your own intuition. You can't make good decisions.
Distance restores perspective. Silence restores internal order. Sometimes you have to step away from the noise just to remember who you are and what you're supposed to be doing.
This brings us to Article 4, the Divine Being Access Principle. This is where it gets really practical. It says, access is earned. Not everyone deserves your vulnerability or your intimacy.
This is a hard pill for some to swallow. We're taught that love is unconditional, but the decree makes a distinction. Love can be unconditional, but access is very conditional.
I like that. I can love you from across the street, but I don't have to let you into my house if you're going to break the furniture, and it's about protecting the sacred parts of your life.
Precisely. Kindness is not unlimited access. You can be a kind person and still have a very short list of people who have your phone number or know your deep secrets.
So how do we actually do this? Article 5 lays out the official removal protocol. It's not just ghosting everyone. There are levels to this.
Right. Level 1 is boundary restructuring. This is the lightest version. You just reduce access. You might delay your response to their texts or limit what you talk about with them.
So instead of texting back in 5 minutes, you wait 5 hours. You stop sharing your big dreams with them because you know they'll just poke holes in them. You're still there, but you're less available.
Exactly. You're controlling the interaction windows. Then level 2 is environmental distancing. This is more physical, reducing visits, maybe not going to the same events, or even moving out if you live together.
That's a bigger step. It's about creating physical space so their energy isn't constantly in your personal sanctuary. Your home should be a place of peace, not a battlefield.
And then level 3 is digital cleansing. This is huge in our modern world. Muting, blocking, unfollowing. It's about removing their intrusive access to your mind via your phone.
I've done this. Just muting someone's stories can change your whole mood. You don't realize how much their noise is affecting you until it's gone. It's like clearing out mental clutter.
It really is. And level 4 is full separation. This is the permanent exclusion. Relationship termination. This is for when there is persistent harm and no sign of growth or accountability.
That sounds harsh, but the decree is clear that this is about self-preservation. If someone is a threat to your peace and your mission, you have to cut the cord.
But wait, Alex, look at Article 6. This is really important. It says this decree is not authorization for cruelty or arrogance. We're not supposed to just go around being jerks to people.
Right, it's not an excuse to abandon vulnerable people who actually need support. It's not about being better than others. It's about discernment. There's a difference between someone in a temporary crisis and someone with a repeated destructive pattern.
That's the key distinction. We all have bad seasons. We all make mistakes. But a karmic individual is someone who refuses to take accountability or grow. They just keep repeating the same toxic loops.
So if your friend is going through a divorce and is a bit of a mess for a few months, you support them. That's not a karmic situation. But if that same friend has been creating drama and draining you for 10 years with no change, that's the pattern.
Exactly. It requires wisdom and restraint. You don't just cut people off on a whim. You audit the relationship over time. Is there growth? Is there accountability? Or is it just a polluted environment?
The final principle is so strong. Peace is infrastructure. Boundaries are architecture. Discernment is security. It frames these things not as nice to have, but as the very foundation of a successful life.
I love the word infrastructure. Think about a city. If the roads are broken and the power grid is failing, nothing else works. If your inner peace is broken, you can't build anything meaningful on top of it.
And boundaries are architecture. They define the space. They say, this is where I begin, and this is where you end. Without architecture, everything just collapses into a heap.
And discernment is security. It's the gatekeeper. It's the ability to look at a person or a situation and say, this is healthy for me, or this is destructive. It's what keeps the pollutants out.
The decree ends with a call to action. It tells the collective to audit their environments with seriousness, honesty, wisdom, and restraint. It's a very sober instruction.
It's about protecting what has been entrusted within you. If you have a gift, a talent, or a mission, you are a steward of that. You have a responsibility to keep the environment around that gift clean.
I think about an artist's studio or a scientist's lab. You wouldn't let people come in and throw trash on the floor while you're trying to work. Why do we let people do that to our minds and hearts?
Because we've been conditioned to think that setting boundaries is mean. But this decree flips that. It says that not setting boundaries is a failure of your mission. It's a failure to respect the work you are here to do.
So, Selena, if someone is listening to this and they realize, wow, I have about 3 people in my life who fit these karmic descriptions perfectly, what's the first step?
The first step is the audit. Be honest. Write it down. Look at the indicators. Is it a pattern? Does their presence consistently leave you exhausted or scattered? Don't make excuses for them.
And then start with level 1. You don't have to announce a full separation today. Just start restructuring the boundaries. Take back your time, take back your emotional energy.
Exactly. Stop the unrestricted communication. You don't have to explain yourself. You are just reclaiming your operational time. It's about creating that disciplined environment the mission requires.
It's almost like we are the CEOs of our own lives. And we've realized we have some very unproductive employees who are actually sabotaging the company. It's time for some performance reviews.
That's a great way to look at it. And some people might need to be let go so the company can survive. It's not personal. It's about the health of the entire enterprise.
I think the most challenging part for many will be the identity suppressors. Often, these are family or long-term friends who knew you when. They have a vested interest in you staying the same.
That is the hardest, Alex. But true love supports evolution. If someone is punishing your independence or mocking your growth, they aren't loving the real you. They are loving the version of you that makes them feel safe.
Ouch. That's a deep aha moment. They love the version of you that doesn't challenge them. If you start changing, it forces them to look at their own lives. And they might not like what they see.
Exactly. So they try to pull you back. Oh, you're so different now. Or, you've changed. And the correct response is, yes, I have, and I'm excited about it.
The decree also mentions digital cleansing. I want to talk more about that because I think we underestimate how much access we give people through our phones. It's like they're in our pockets all day.
It's constant, intrusive access. If someone is toxic, they can reach you while you're at dinner, while you're at work, even while you're in bed. That noise never stops unless you make it stop.
And the mute button is a spiritual tool. You're not deleting them, but you're saying, I'm not going to let your energy into my consciousness every time I pick up my phone.
It's about reclaiming your mental real estate. Your attention is your most precious resource. Don't give it away to people who only use it to manufacture drama or spread negativity.
I love how this decree frames peace as infrastructure. It makes it sound so vital and structural, like you can't have a functioning society without roads and water, and you can't have a functioning life without peace.
It's the environment in which growth happens. Think about a seed. It needs the right soil, the right amount of water, and a lack of weeds to grow. If the soil is toxic, the seed will struggle no matter how much potential it has.
We are the seeds, and we have to be the gardeners too. We have to pull the weeds, those karmic individuals, so we can actually reach our full height.
And remember Article 7, a spiritually exhausted being cannot effectively serve collective advancement. This isn't just about you. It's about the people you are meant to help.
If I'm so drained by my toxic roommate that I can't do my job well, then my clients are suffering too. My family is suffering. My whole mission is compromised. It's a ripple effect.
Exactly. Self-preservation is a service to others. By protecting your peace, you are ensuring that you have the capacity to give your best to the world.
This decree is like a manifesto for a new way of living. It's moving away from people-pleasing and toward purpose-protecting. That's a huge shift in mindset.
It really is. It's about moving from a state of obligation to a state of alignment. You're not doing things because you should, but because they align with your mission and your peace.
And it requires a lot of honesty. You have to be honest about who is actually good for you and who isn't. Sometimes we hold on to people because of history, even if the present is painful.
History is not a reason to tolerate current harm. Just because someone was your best friend in third grade doesn't mean they have a right to sabotage your life in your 30s.
That's a tough one for people, but we've known each other forever. Okay, but do they respect your boundaries? Do they celebrate your growth? If not, that history is just a chain.
The decree says, repeated disruption shall not be mistaken for destiny. I love that. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they are meant to be there forever.
Some people are seasonal. They were there for a reason, but that season has passed. Keeping them around past their expiration date just creates rot.
That's a great analogy. It's like keeping old food in the fridge. It was good once, but now it's just making everything else smell bad. You have to clear it out to make room for fresh nourishment.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Decree TNTI 2026 KS001, what's the one thing you want people to take away from this conversation?
I want them to realize that their peace is non-negotiable. It's not something you hope for. It's something you actively build and protect. You have the authority to decide who gets access to your life.
And that setting boundaries isn't an act of hate. It's an act of love for yourself and your mission. It's saying yes to your potential by saying no to what destroys it.
Exactly. Remove what repeatedly destroys your peace. Distance what consistently diminishes your clarity. Protect what has been entrusted within you. That's the mandate.
It's a powerful call to action. I think we all have a little environmental purification to do this week. Honestly, I'm already thinking of a few digital cleanses I need to perform.
Me too, Alex. It's an ongoing process. You have to keep auditing, keep refining, and keep protecting that sacred space where your mission lives.
Well, this has been incredibly eye-opening. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools for navigating my relationships and my environment. It's all about that infrastructure of peace.
It really is. And once you have that infrastructure, there's no limit to what you can build. The Chosen Collective isn't just a title. It's a commitment to excellence in every area of life.
Absolutely. Thanks for breaking this down with me, Selena. It's been a fascinating look into the TNT Initiative's approach to spiritual and environmental health.
My pleasure, Alex. Remember, everyone listening, your environment is your responsibility. Audit it with wisdom. And don't be afraid to make the hard choices for the sake of your peace.
Such a great point. I mean, think about the mental space we'd all have if we weren't constantly managing someone else's drama. It's like we'd finally have room to breathe, right?
Exactly. It's about creating that silence that restores internal order. When you finally cut out the noise, you can actually hear your own thoughts again. It's like waking up from a long, chaotic dream.
Wait, I just thought of another example. You know how some people always seem to have a manufactured crisis, right? When you're about to do something for yourself? Like, you plan a weekend getaway and suddenly they have a medical emergency that isn't really an emergency?
Oh, that is classic manipulative dependency. It's a way of making sure your focus is always on them, never on your own well-being. It's a subtle form of control that uses your kindness as a weapon.
It's so sneaky because you feel like a bad person if you don't help. But the decree is saying, no, you're not a bad person for recognizing a pattern of manipulation. You're actually being a wise steward of your energy.
Yes, wisdom over guilt. That should be a mantra. We have to stop letting guilt drive our decisions, especially when it's being manufactured by someone else for their own benefit.
I also love the idea of compassion without self-destruction. It's like the oxygen mask on the airplane. You have to put yours on first, or you're no use to anyone else.
That's the perfect analogy. If you're spiritually and emotionally suffocating because of the people around you, you can't help them anyway. You're just both going down together.
So by separating yourself from that toxicity, you're actually doing the most compassionate thing possible for everyone involved. You're refusing to participate in a dysfunctional cycle.
And you're setting an example. You're showing that it's possible to choose peace. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for someone else is to stop enabling their bad behavior by removing yourself from it.
Wow, that's a powerful way to end it. It's not just about us. It's about the standard we set for our lives and our relationships. It's about building a world where peace is the priority.
Exactly. A world where boundaries are respected, discernment is valued, and everyone is free to pursue their mission without sabotage. That's the vision of the Chosen Collective.
I'm in. Let's start the audit. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. I hope this conversation gives you the permission you need to protect your peace and your purpose.
And remember, as the decree says, the mission ahead requires disciplined environments. So go out there and build yours. See you next time.
Wait, Selena, before we go, I just had one more thought about the identity suppressors. It's not just friends and family, right? It can even be our own internal voices sometimes, echoing what those people have said to us for years.
That is a profound insight, Alex. We internalize the karmic voices. Even after we physically separate from the person, their voice can stay in our heads, telling us we're getting too big for our boots, or that we shouldn't change.
So environmental purification also includes our internal environment. We have to evict those internalized voices just as much as the actual people.
Absolutely. It's a total cleanse. You clear the physical space, the digital space, and then you work on the mental space. It's all connected. You can't have true clarity if your own mind is still echoing someone else's sabotage.
It's like we're reclaiming our whole reality, from the people we text to the way we talk to ourselves. It's a complete overhaul of our operating system.
And that's why it's called a mandate. It's that important. It's the foundation for everything else the TNT initiative is trying to achieve. You can't build a new world with old, toxic dynamics.
Well, I think we've given everyone a lot to think about. This isn't just a one-time thing, it's a lifestyle of discernment. I'm definitely going to be more watchful about who I let into my inner circle from now on.
As you should. Your light is precious, Alex. Don't let anyone dim it just because they're afraid of the dark. Keep shining and keep those boundaries strong.
Thanks, Selena, and thanks to all of you for listening. This has been a truly transformative discussion. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Stay focused, stay peaceful, and stay aligned. Goodbye for now.